and welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. We are the Dudley Boys of WhatCulture. I'm Adam Wilbourn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick, here to review everything that happened on last night's episode of AEW Dynamite. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. Where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review AEW Dynamite, but also AEW Collision, Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a round of the week complete with a very good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Hamflett and Sidgwick to review Dynamite from last night. Sidge, what did you make of the show?
Elements of it were really
Jamie
good.
Carragher, what did you make of the show?
Elements of it were good. The experience of watching last night's Dynamite specifically did not, alter my broad outlook on AEW, the build to All In, the general massive improvements of 2025, the direction, yada, yada, yada. I just felt that this was a small crowd.
I was going to say, it's not Arena Mexico, this, is it?
No, it was a bit of a come down. Well, a significant come down in terms of scale, atmosphere, specialness from Arena Mexico. I think that might have been the case whatever happened.
Yeah.
But this was a particularly small and at times very quiet crowd. And because I feel like we are there with the all-in build. And again, I don't think even a couple of middling weeks, if in fact they happen over the next two Dynamites, are really going to thwart my interest. But I got the sense last night that, we're there. We're there with these builds and we've got 2 weeks left. I think they've done a tremendous job, genuinely, of building the top 3-4 matches. And there's still a lot of acts in the mid-card that I can't hope to care that much about. But in terms of the big picture, the most important stuff, those main event special attraction matches, I think the work, and there's been a lot of work and thought, has in fact been done. And I just recall week to week, about 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, thinking, my God, they are nailing this. They are getting this. And what's cool about it is that we've got so many weeks left to come. This is the first week where I'm thinking, no, we're there. I'm ready. I don't know what else you do. I don't know. There were certain things that bugged me early. And as we were talking about on the NXT review, you can still check that out wherever you get your podcasts from. And it's like anything. If you set a tone early of, okay, then I'm not going to be that into it. And again, nothing with the action or even the stories told. Certain, quite frankly, WWE adjacent tropes in this setting just put me off a little bit.
Yeah, I almost completely agree with Sidge there. It was sort of a bad news, good news. The bad news was this didn't particularly enhance my excitement or the sense of momentum heading into All In. But the really, really good news is that it couldn't hurt it either. Nothing, I think, can hurt the momentum going into All In. They could run a segment with one of these big programs that we're all excited about that doesn't hit like one from one of the prior weeks, but it really doesn't matter. They have done.
As long as Kenny Omega makes it to All In.
Yeah.
If they came out when actually he's not wrestling. What?
This is probably, when I think about it, I don't know if this hangs together, but just as I think about it now, this might be the good version of something Sidge used to hate about, and it was really common in WWE, especially in latter day Vince era, which was, and you still get it sometimes with Triple H now, but it was almost 100% of the time WWE programs were laid out this way. Remember that period of just premise establishment, nothing. That was you got 4 or 5 weeks between pay-per-views, first Raw, and there's the premise, nothing.
Yeah.
Not a single angle, not a single motor, just there it was, and now see you in a month. This is a way better version of that because they're still advancing the stories and there's still angles between the wrestlers. But in this case, it was graphic establishment. Oh, we're good. Nothing can get in the way of this. I'm excited for all of this. But it didn't matter that last week's Dynamite was a bit of a veered away from the stories. From the Arena Mexico of it all. You could sort of just luxuriate in that rather than the weekly stories. That was the same method this week, but there wasn't really anything to luxuriate in its place. Same next week, it's Dynamite 300.
It's mad, isn't it?
300 episodes. 300 episodes. So you luxuriate in that next week. And again, it doesn't particularly matter if the stories don't particularly feel oh my God, now we've gone from 3 weeks away to 2 weeks away. It's just
there's going to be well, not big, but there's going to be all-in implications. I mean, what Okada's going to do to Ibushi.
Yeah.
I mean...
There still was this week. It
Yeah.
just doesn't feel like it matters that much because
Yeah.
they've done all the hard work. They have.
Really looking forward to, I know we're stepping on the dick of next week's preview before we get to this week's review, but what the Young Bucks are up to. I have got an idea, but we'll get to it.
Well, the show starts with us seeing Timeless Toni Storm arriving, or Carmen Sandiego arriving to AEW Dynamite, but she's attacked.
Can we stop that, by the way? Sorry. Before you get into it and this thought drops out of my head. Why are we doing this? It's so odd. Like, when we've got the looming threat of AEW doing the Avengers of WrestleMania 40, which I still maintain they'll do it, if not better, than differently, okay? Like, and I'm not saying, again, that you mustn't do a single thing that WWE does because you can't not do it at times. I mean, it's a wrestling promotion.
Only in 2019 could you have done that.
Yeah.
Only with something so appalling.
It's not even that big a thing, but I still question the wisdom of doing, all the stars are arriving. Not only
I did think of you, sorry to interrupt, I did think of you when Mina made the save.
Well, we're going to get to that as well. We're going to get to that as well, trust me. I question the wisdom of doing anything that has become a WWE signature at this point, especially now that there's sort of a brewing, not anti-WWE sentiment, but there is a general sense in the air that WWE is falling off, right? Mm-hmm. Like, maybe there is an opportunity here, a window for people to go, I can't be arsed with this John Cena heel character, or yada, yada, yada. Let's see what AEW is doing. It just... visually at times, and this happened about 4 times in the opening 10 minutes of Dynamite, just looks like that old TNA feeling of, it's the Wish Fed. Yeah. It is the Temu Fed.
Temu Titan.
Not only is it the way that WWE invariably is their own signature, starts their TV programs, right? But we've now reached a point where even WWE fans, even Dr. Fed himself is starting to get a little bit, right, let's fast forward this. What else have you got? Like, this is a pretty, like, filler bit of TV.
I think it's outlived its usefulness a bit.
Yeah.
It's good for a bit. But, like, the branding is being reflected in other ways than this grand, the destination of the whole world is right here in this building, in this town, on this night. They should attack that problem in a new way.
Yeah.
I feel. Because we know this now.
But it's becoming a joke, an in-joke amongst the, and I hate myself, IWC of like, oh God, they're doing that intro again. Why steal it now? I just find it perplexing. I don't even think it's that important, but it adds up. It does add up.
But yeah, as Toni Storm's making her way through the backstage, she is jumped by Mercedes.
Moné.
She beats her down, chucks her into like flight cases and what have you, and announces, "Welcome to Dynamite." Before she rolls with her out to the ramp.
That's what she said.
There's someone there, she just nails him and nicks the microphone off her, and then obviously she says, "You want to play games with me? You want to embarrass me, you stupid little bitch? Let's play." She puts her in the statement maker, and referees get in there, try and separate them. I saw someone point out, like Christopher Daniels out there, who doesn't try and stop her from doing the statement maker, just goes, "Come on, let it go." And then Mina Shirakawa runs out, and Mercedes backs off, but not before she says, "Darling, let the games begin."
Right, okay. More generally, this is a fine update on the story. Realistically, they've told the story and built it as the biggest women's match in AEW history by a significant distance in that first ever verbal exchange. That was like quite moving, didn't feel grabby. They told nothing but the truth. And how cool is that they were able to just say, without any kind of hyperbole or desperation, this is the biggest thing we've ever done in this division. So big, in fact, that we might even inspire young women to like venture into this world and into this profession, and you just believed it, and it was nice. Now's the time to ramp up the hatred, and wrestling has got a kind of limited range of angles and story beats with which to do this.
Especially with what Tony said on Collision too.
Yeah.
Like baiting her, basically saying she's disappointed in Mercedes because all she's done is eaten steak and tried to kiss her.
Yeah, so like they've tried to retroactively make sense of the idea of Mercedes as just, you know, pun intended, wordplay intended, pieing Toni Storm off. And then Toni Storm, rather than just, they've done a really cool, like, organic escalation of the hatred. It's not just feeling like a brawl for brawl's sake.
Yeah.
Like, Toni came out in Collision. I don't know if you've caught up with it yet, or I don't know if every viewer or listener still watches Collision regularly, but she came out, as Wilbourn very correctly points out, and says, come on, I'm kind of disappointed at this point. Like, if we are going to have this match, if we are going to bring the best version of ourselves, if we are going to be worthy of beating the other, I need the Mercedes money, who I genuinely believe to be the best that this continent has ever produced, you know? So now, success. Be careful what you wish for. Mercedes is bringing that vicious heel character with which he rose to fame. This is all fine. This is all good. And again, after you do the intro, the WWE Levesque era intro, why are you doing the entrance theme interruption? And it happens like midway through the first match as well. Like, I don't know if it's just a Warner thing or if Tony Khan himself has thought this is just how it's done and it's been normalized and no one except that stupid little specky twat YouTuber from Newcastle cares, you know?
I don't call him that. He's doing his best.
Yeah, he is doing his best. He is doing his best.
The camera did accidentally hover on you there. Sorry, mate.
But the idea that this is not a chaotic live event that happens to be broadcast, but is instead this produced show. I have praised AEW when they didn't do it for 6 weeks. Started to get a little bit annoyed when they just fell into the WWE trap and just pressed that button for literally, well, almost every single interruption or save or whatever. Like, it just makes it feel like a phony WWE show. Like, and WWE will outwardly say, like, we go for this as a choice. We are a movie about a sport. It's meant to be heightened. You're not meant to take the world that seriously. But if AEW wants to stand out and feel like, and try and harness this chaotic, halfway realistic pro wrestling energy of your, cut this out. Please, 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 please. Because not only does it make this entire scene feel like, A, something you've seen a million times, which was not good when you're trying to build this as an incredibly special storyline that you can't believe AEW is putting the two very best in company history against each other on this huge show. It just feels like every single pro wrestling angle you've ever seen. Like, if you try and think creatively and think differently, these small choices will add up to mean something. And I think generally, right, I know I've been talking about this for 6 years, so just please bear with me. But more generally, like, it'll just make it feel like a character in your world, which I would like to take seriously. In this case, Mina Shirakawa has decided, oh my God, my friend's in deep trouble. I need to go and save her. And then he set up the match, obviously, after that. The fact that you heard the entrance theme just makes it feel like a part of a show, like a fictional, outwardly very fake, produced, written, scripted wrestling show. And I don't understand why wrestling just always does this. So that is one part of it. The other part of it is because it's so synonymous with WWE. And I get the counter argument as well before the pancakes, waffles, people pipe up, right? 1998, December, you're putting that glass shatter before Austin comes out. And if you don't, you're an idiot, and it works, right? I'm not saying never do it. Like, make it feel special. Make it feel like a special thing. Like, earn that pop.
Omega returning, for example.
Something like an Omega return. Or, like, I'm talking once every, on a quarterly basis. If you feel like there's a certain run-in or a save or a debut or whatever, use it. Don't use it.
Quick by the list.
Something like that, yeah.
Creates
like,
the frenzy.
I will tolerate the contrivance if you actually get the pop. Who realistically, I know she's popular, we're big fans of her on this podcast, is going, oh, come on, Mina. come and save Toni Storm. You're not, because it happens every single goddamn week. And another thing is that because it's every single week, and because it's this thing that is just synonymous with WWE at this point, I know ECW did it and WCW did it, but it's just the WWE thing, is that when you are playing to a crowd this small and this quiet and you are doing WWE tropes, you look more like Impact than WWE, because the scale of the show felt a little bit bleak last night, quite frankly. It was hard to get past, especially as you mentioned in the Arena Mexico come down. But when you are doing these WWE tropes to a decidedly not WWE-sized audience, all I can get is that's TNA. It's TNA. Obviously, it's significantly better and bigger than the so-called number 2 promotion in the United States, but it's still that sub-WWE, quasi-TNA produced vibe in front of a small crowd. I couldn't deal with it last night for whatever reason.
I don't have a lot to say about the segment, so I'm glad Sidge did. Jay was fine, but he was just fine. Like, the physicality looked decent enough. I guess I'm just not as sensitive to those specifics.
Because you're a Fed guy.
But I get why, yeah. But it wasn't... do you know what this wasn't? Was a kind of segment that pierced that veneer that when we talk, when we talk about like the arena-wide brawls, or like here come the cavalry or whatever, and it's like, he's hitting him and he's hitting him, and so what? Like this, you're supposed to feel chaos and you feel nothing. This didn't do that. The great brawls or the great attacks or whatever now take it from the stuff you see every week to this kind of, I feel different about this violence that I'm seeing in front of me. And this didn't.
I was convinced because the white vest, I was like, she's getting colour here.
I didn't even... My thoughts never extended that far beyond it. And maybe this is what the point that Sidge's making. I did feel like I was just watching the opening 5 minutes of a wrestling show.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad 5 minutes, but it was just that. It wasn't just... It didn't take me beyond that emotionally. But can't all the time. Like the suplex did last week when the belts flew everywhere.
Yeah.
So I've had my fill, I guess, of Tony and Mercedes for now. And there's still a couple of weeks left. Like, I don't know, is that bad critical analysis? Like, it didn't...
I feel like we're there.
Yeah. A lot of, like, nothing really felt like it was sizzling for me this week, but, like, I'm in a constant state of excitement for the show, so the job is done.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's strange.
Hear ye, the founding fathers are here. Matthew and Nicholas Jackson appear on the screen whilst they're running through the show to announce that hey, Swerve and Ospreay have got a big match later on. Actually, I was meant to be in the second hour, but as soon as we're in control, let's have it right now. And this is so sudden that Will Ospreay is literally still taping his wrists as he runs down to the ring and tying up his shoes. Meanwhile, Swerve's like sticking on his new shirt as he's making his entrance. I feel like his opponents might have been given their heads up about this by the heels because they were Lee Johnson and a guy called Blake Christian, but I think he's known by like a nickname.
Vanilla, baby.
Johnson and Swerve starts off. Johnson dodged a house call and a rolling suplex early. And Blake and Will come in. Blake Christian getting a snap head scissors and thinking it's a good idea to slap Will Ospreay in the face. Gets hit with a Manhattan drop and some big chops by Ospreay. There's a double team running boot on Johnson. Strickland hits a body slam. Ospreay hits a standing sky twister press for 2. But as Ospreay sets up for pip pip cheerio, the Young Bucks, as you alluded to earlier, their music hits. That distracts him.
Just felt like I was watching TNA here. Like a really strong match, which I ended up loving by the end. I'm sorry to step on your dick. But when they came out, it's that music as well. Like, even though there's been some great Young Bucks material that is yielded from this version of them, it's still like this is the worst character run they've had, I think, comfortably. So when they do that Succession music in front of a really small, not exactly vocal, hot crowd, you get the anti-feeling a little bit, and it's completely contrived.
Yeah, that distracts Will and allows Blake to hit a corkscrew dive to take us to a break. The Young Bucks are loving that, clapping along. When we come back, Blake Christian is taking the piss, walking the ropes, hits a chop into a DVD on Will Ospreay as we come back. Johnson hit a frog splash, Christian with a 450 as well. But Will manages to get over to get the hot tag to Swerve, and he sends Johnson into his partner with like a buckle bomb. Hits that nice uppercut of his out the corner. Tries for big pressure. Blake Christian gets out of it. And Swerve has to kip up, and Ospreay flies in and hits Johnson with a hidden blade, which looked awesome. Super.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
Come on, I mean, like the tits.
Super kick into a brainbuster combo, and Ospreay gives the nod to Swerve, who hits Christian with the house call for the 1-2-3. Post-match, security has to stop them from going after the Young Bucks. Swerve grabs a mic and says, "We're not going another year with this crap. The franchise and the feeling against the Young Bucks are all in." And Will says, "Yes, bruv, but we should up the stakes, seeing as, you say you're the founding fathers, but the only reason that AEW exists is because of the people who supported you. I've had enough with all this, power control stuff. You're abusing it. You're doing more harm than good. Put the EVP titles on the line at All In." And to close out this segment, Swerve just hits a Swerve stomp onto all the security, basically, which will lead into something in a second. But your thoughts on all this?
Other than the entrance music thing, I had a really great time with this, and I think it was so much better than it had any right to be, and I'll go into why. I will forget the stipulation, so I'll talk about that first. If for no other reason than, in the event of Swerve and Ospreay winning, we'll rid ourselves of a plot hole that has done my f***ing head in for over a year. And when he said that stip, I was like, get in. Great decision. Like, absolutely great decision. Because when the Young Bucks said, it was a cute little detail with the wrist tape and all the rest of it. And it did. Again, that was a bit of me that they have told you, there's a schedule plan for this show. They've presented the illusion that it's a card of action, time limits, and it's something that could feasibly happen. I really liked that element of it. That's a bit of me, that is. But at the same time, if the Young Bucks have got the power to do certain things, whatever suits them when they want, it's always been so vaguely defined. Why aren't they the tag team champions?
Yeah.
Like, all the time, I understand that in headcanon you could say, obviously look at the Sahid Syndicate. They are scared of them. But it's still, you can't tell this story without constantly opening yourselves up to scrutiny and logic and all the rest of it. So as long as this is over, then it's fine by me. And we've been here before, didn't they, give themselves a title shot, basically, against Sting and Darby?
Yeah.
They just kind of gave themselves it. They beat some jobbers and said, well, look at us on the rankings. We're doing great. We've got the title shot. And it was basically them saying, we can do what we want. So I'm glad that nonsense, which they haven't touched in a decent amount of time, in fairness, because I think they realize this has not worked and we are phasing out of it. So that's all good. That's all good. What I really liked about this match was I got a weird sense of relief because, as I mentioned on the review last week, the Arena Mexico show, as hot as that main event was, as good as it was, there was some atypical sloppiness on the part of the Bucks, Ospreay and Swerve. And I'm thinking, if this is meant to be the first phase of getting you excited about the title match, there was just, the work wasn't particularly tight, I thought. Here, the complete opposite was true. And when I say this had no right to be as good as it was, what I mean by that is every single week we've got a button.
Yeah.
We have literally got a button that we use, and I will press it now.
You're joking. Not another one?
Designed to take the piss out of the constant stream of babyface super squads that we get in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tony Khan over the past 2-3 years has become utterly obsessed with the idea of strange bedfellow babyface opponents coming together. Like the conglomeration took a life of its own. Like anyone who's considered kooky, wholesome, beloved, they'll just tag with each other. Like we see combinations of Speedball and Mark Briscoe, and Willow Nightingale's always good for this, and Orange Cassidy and all the rest of it. This should be, and to a degree is, the most overexposed, charmless thing that they do constantly. And as fun as it is on the night, that again creates plot holes of, oh, well, you were friends with him 3 months ago. Shouldn't you go out and save him? And all the rest of it, right? The idea of all the stars are here in one match, and you love that one, and you love that one, and that one's interacting with that one, and every week with this, it's starting to wear a little thin for me. And I think it's not exactly the most productive use of TV. It all feels like a little bit too much yuck and levity especially when you're trying to tell the story of the Death Riders darkening the door of the promotion. Everyone's having a great time in the mid-card, so Jon Moxley's useless at his job. But you know what I mean? Everyone's having all this mad fun. Hang on, isn't there meant to be like a massive, like, dark grey thundercloud over the entire promotion? Which is, you know what I mean? So doesn't help the tone, doesn't help the long-term overlapping, deft, dovetailing booking, right? I should be over the babyface super team. My God, Swerve and Will Ospreay as a babyface team were unbelievable. That double big boot, I don't think they could have synchronized that any more perfectly. There are few better wrestlers to watch in the world when Swerve Strickland is on and he presents himself as the guy who exists in his head. Sometimes he can be a little bit sloppy in there. Sometimes it's not quite as cool as it is in his head. When he is Swerve Strickland, it is a thrill. He started kicking Vanilla Baby's ass at one point of this match, and I thought, my God, he's going to break his jaw. It was absolutely awesome. And that spot, which they are going to either do and or subvert at All in Texas, where Swerve, who, again, on his best day, comes across as nothing less than the coolest man in the entire industry. Nothing less than that. He did the kip up, where it's like, right, I'm going to, not only am I going to sort of like hide in plain sight in front of my opponent, just basically do a kip up that allows Will Ospreay to blast their goddamn head off their shoulders with possibly the best executed move in the entire industry, the Hidden Blade, but he's going to just show off his athletic prowess so casually after. It was like, and I know these things are usually invoked as criticisms of wrestling and wrestlers, but it just looked like cool graphic novel, cinematic video game stuff. Like just two absolutely cool, effortlessly badass hybrid super athletes coming together for a great cause. I thought the pair of them was so cool last night. It was awesome. Even in this like kind of throwaway TV match that didn't exist to be a great match, but it was probably much better as a result. It was just, we've come together, we're going to blow these little pricks away, and we're going to look effortlessly cool doing it. I had a great time with the actual body of this match.
Yeah, me too. And it was good booking as well, because you've had them wrestle each other to a stalemate, which allows you to infer that they're actually the best two on the whole roster. And then you're like, well, the actual best is Hangman Page, and he's fighting for the title. 3 bests. This is great. The Death Riders can be stopped. Maybe that's why everybody's cheering off. But then this, illustrating the synergy so soon after the, stalemate of brilliance between the pair does put them on a level.
Builds their next match brilliantly as well, by the way, in plain sight.
You are creating so much here with these two as this. They're not even super team for a night. They're just super team for the greater good right now. But the super team for the night against the Young Bucks, that they can beat the Young Bucks, that they can be the Young Bucks. Because the Young Bucks, if they've got nothing else, even in their more unpopular times, will have this match where they will just dazzle you with their double teams and the kip up, blip ups. And it's like, well, these have got it too, and maybe better. And they're showing you that. They're making you ask the question of it. And the Young Bucks have been well built back up as heels. So the babyface heel dynamic is absolutely perfect. And I love the stakes. Same as Sidge, there was a real, because you asked me this morning when we came in, does that mean I
said, can Will Ospreay and Swerve become EVPs if they win?
No. I didn't think about that. I simply was I just want to throw the rubbish in the bin. I want to sort of is that when you clear the kitchen counter straight into the bin, that's what just all the various bits of crumbs and detritus, that's what the EVP, it's such a hodgepodge and nothing. Just get rid. I don't wish to take those little extra ingredients, turn them into something else. Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland, no thank you. Just away, just gone, in the bin. It's good.
I've got an idea, right? And I'm going to step on the dick of the preview only because I've got a terrible memory and I don't trust myself to remember this. I think, and again, this goes against what I've just said, but whatever. If you are telling the people that the big obviously the idea is this is going to be an absolutely sensational back and forth match of the year candidate between these four men at All In Texas. That's kind of the real reason why it exists. But the stipulation is the Young Bucks have to stop their reign of terror, just basically coming out, threatening to do something, and then Christopher Daniels just overrules them, which was a case a lot of times last year, right? If they are going to sell you this as the big, this is why you need to watch it, this is finally over, it would behoove AEW and the Young Bucks to start actually doing it in the weeks before All In, yes? Like, all this stuff that they're doing, god damn it. This is going to be over and done with, hopefully, if you just pay $50 to watch All In Texas, right? They need to start doing this. Next week, they are, of course, what did Excalibur say, on the doorstep of Rancho Cucamonga, which is where the Bucks are from, so it's their home. They need to obviously wrestle a match, right? I don't think it would work if they just get to ham and eggers and say, all right, okay, whatever. It has to be against a caliber of opponent that makes it so that they have to rely on certain devices to get the win. And for Tony Schiavone to say, not again with these, like, this can't keep happening. Hopefully Swerve and Ospreay win it All In. I want to see Nakazawa, Cutler. Like, I want to see all the old goons. I want to see, like, and I just want to see a big, stupid, chaotic Young Bucks scene. Like, just to backload everything into this final thing in Ontario where it's like, yeah, this is fun, but I mean, they're just destroying the idea of competition and blah, 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 blah. They need to go big, is what I'm saying, next week in their hometown or near enough it, with the idea of this can't go on. It can.
Did you see the Glasgow flag?
Yeah.
A stranglehold again.
Yeah.
Rather than this halfway house. AEW, yeah.
Just fake it at the end, basically.
Funny mention those like periods of authority where you're like, oh, blood, I need to stop these baddie owners or whatever. Because it was this specific episode that I thought, when the Bucks were helping out the Death Riders, and I know they've done that before, but like just specifically with this, and now the power's going to be for grabs. I just remember
Bucks has said he hates them as well.
Yeah.
And then without just saying, you're all right, you can come and help. He's always just said all along, don't get involved.
And there they are, and then there's like the sort of the Chris Statlander tease later on. It reminded me of like when like Edge and Christian, and this was really great writing from Brian Gewirtz in the Chris Kraske era, so much so that I don't think Triple H at the time realised they were taking a piss out of it a little bit. When Edge and Christian are like, they're kind of helping out a bit. And Triple H is the game, and he's got Road Dogg and X-Pac. We're still working for the regime. And then Edge is like, no, I think the McMahon Helmsley faction now. And they're like, all right, we're working for the faction. It's like, it's such a mess. It's like, well, I think it's good that we're helping the faction.
Yeah.
Following this, we had the highlights of Kota Ibushi's return on Collision, and then basically a brief history of Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega. And then we go backstage against the Young Bucks, who call Swerve a dumbass for what he just did. He put his hands on an AEW official, suspends him for a week without pay. And then in walks Kazuchika Okada, Rocky Romero, and Trent Beretta. And there's a nice moment between Rocky and I think Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, apologies, where they sort of talk about their history together and then decide,
Hey, you all right?
If their boss is kind of a jerk. Whatever means necessary, they need to make sure Okada is the first unified champion at All In, destroy Kenny Omega. But let's start with Kota tonight. Trent said he's going to dismantle him. Everyone's happy. Everyone walks off, well, except for Konosuke Takeshita and Kazuchika Okada, who have a face-off. And Takeshita reminds Okada, this is only temporary.
I liked all this because it is. One of my agendas of 2025 is we need to turn Takeshita face. We need to turn him face. I mean, I don't know what we're doing here if we don't. Maybe he could be alongside Kyle Fletcher, an early Hangman opponent, and then we proceed with that story. But whatever, I'm getting ahead of myself here. I mean, this is just a fine bit of TV, but and again, bare minimum stuff, but the idea that the Young Bucks still have a partnership and a friendship with Kazuchika Okada is kind of something that I didn't realize was pivotal. Know what I mean? Like, it made no sense that they would just, because I know Jack Perry just completely bombed. He's out in the woods, just doing stuff now. He's just doing stuff. But the idea that It was the Young Bucks who brought in Okada and all the rest of it. They should have a vested...
Jack Perry wasn't pulling up any trees.
Yeah. Look at me now, boy. That's what he says in the woods.
Or could it be the jungle? Babyface turn.
Yeah, that's what he's been building.
Nah, he's been building various ornaments.
He's not building a case for his return.
Building a case for his belongings out of wood.
Look, it's good, I guess, that they haven't just completely binned off something that was the whole reason for Okada coming in, is what I'm saying. So, nice. I wouldn't say it was deft, but I will say a nice arrangement of moving parts here.
Yeah, I like this.
Did you win it?
Hmm?
Did you?
Aye.
Other than Trent Beretta, of course.
Yeah, he's never been a bit of me. Or Rocky Romero. But like the rest of them.
Let's talk about the Trent Beretta match with Kota Ibushi that followed. Rocky Romero's out there. Early on, he runs distraction because Ibushi's in control. That allows Beretta to take out Ibushi, forearms in the ropes, running boot to the outside. Trent this time takes the ref to allow Rocky to get some shots in. Ibushi hits a snap power slam to get back into it, though. There's a standing moonsault by him as well for 2. Beretta hits his knee in a gotch-style pile driver, but Ibushi just kicks out at the last second. He's not sort of paintbrushing Ibushi. That wakes him up. Beretta hits a snapdragon, but Ibushi no-sells and hits one of his own. Crowd loving this. Some near falls. Beretta tries for a sort of almost like a Rainmaker lariat, but Ibushi blocks all that, drags Beretta down to the mat, double stomp on him, hits a knee, Kamigoye for the 1-2-3. Post-match, out walks Kazuchika Okada, and there's a face-off between the two of them, and it's been made official, as we alluded to earlier, for Dynamite 300. It is Okada versus Ibushi.
I thought, and I am using bare minimum praise here, and I always said all along, for a little dip at the end of 2019, notwithstanding, I will hold this company to the highest standard because look what they're capable of. And I want things to be awesome, really. I'm not one of these losers who'll just put up with a 6 or 7 out of 10 show every single week.
Feels like I've done many years of winning of late.
Anyway, enough of that. That's my fault. I went in there thinking Ibushi's not doing out here, and kind of understandably so. This is a guy who went harder than most and almost destroyed his body. The TLDR on this is it was nice to see Ibushi to see him nice. It was nice to see...
Bush Forsyth.
Yeah. It was nice to see Kota Ibushi give a nice account of himself in that ring. Right. Honestly, my fear was, and I know he's taken a lot longer than he has previously. He has got some definition in those abs.
Yeah, especially when he buzz like this.
Indeed. This wasn't
really got me.
This was nowhere near a candidate for TV Match of the Year. This was also nowhere near the incredibly bleak feelings that Kota Ibushi has been summoning since the summer of 2023.
Yeah.
So I'm under no illusions here, and I'm not going to overpraise it. I'm not saying he's back. It's not that funny, mate, to be honest.
I'm thinking about
Bruce Forsyth
Bruce Forsyth on the bike. Stuff. You really got me.
There's that pair of Hurricane Ranas, which is weird because normally you get nothing for a pair, not in this game.
But there were moments here. I'm not saying he's back. Like again, it's the if he keeps getting better in 6 months. I mean, I'd love that. I can't really see it happening, but my God, you saw he's not even. I don't think going to be that as good once as he ever was. Like that 94 Flair, where it's kind of finished, but some nights he's just almost exactly the same. You're not going to get that neither with Kota Ibushi. You're still loving that, aren't you? But there were flickers here, and it helps enormously that like those unforgettably bad performances and bleak performances he was putting in are like now the benchmark for what he can do going forward. Like he hit the V trigger or a version of it. Like he just rocked his jaw.
Yeah.
He exploded
Just
into
finish.
it. Yeah. He took a bump. It's Kota Ibushi directly on his neck, and he got back up. I was like, flickers.
Yeah.
That's all I need.
Tingles.
Flickers of the old Ibushi. And frankly, for the role that he is playing for now in this build to All In, that's all I need. I need to know that one, something terrible is not going to happen to him in that ring. 2, I can take his offense seriously. And 3, it will kind of mean something when Okada brutalizes him to summon out Kenny Omega. I was shocked by how more than passable this was, and I did love seeing those little glimpses of the old Kota because he was amazing. He was absolutely amazing once upon a time, man.
I couldn't be happier to praise this.
Yeah.
Like, because this episode was just fine, Dynamite. As a result, this pleasant surprise was probably the highlight for me because I was genuinely taken aback by how much I was enjoying this. Trent was good.
No, Trent's very good.
He's probably now, that old line about Punk being like, come on, man, like you're the third best Eddie and the second best Kingston. Like you just get, I would say he's my second least favorite Trent in the
After
business.
Trent 7.
Yeah, like good on Beretta. Like some distance. I was really, really impressed by this. You couldn't not watch Kota Ibushi with that certain fear and panic and wince. And he,
even the commentators were kind of saying, this is the new Ibushi, if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought the presentation of him of a result made the match far more entertaining than I would have pictured it on paper. Trent was there for everything. I go harsh on him sometimes just because I don't really like the character, the vibe, the aesthetic, of the energy of best friends and all of that surrounds them. But in individual performances over the years of various matches over Trent Beretta's career, I cannot fault him as a pro wrestler. Do you know, it's just a lot of all of the rest of it. But this was a really, really fun bit of business. Ibushi Okada is simultaneously this, whoa, they're going to go for each other. And Okada might kill him before Omega makes a save. And it offers you both. It offers you a look at both versions of that match. It's really, really effective stuff, this.
Yeah. It's going to have, I know we're previewing it next week and all the rest of it. This is going to have a really great story, this Ibushi Okada thing, where it'll be almost heartbreaking for Okada to just coast and be TV American Okada.
Yeah.
When this version of Kota Ibushi is bringing it, and he's still but then he kills him anyway and he turns it on. It's he was just getting to be the old self again. I'll tell you what, we were previewing this yesterday and I was a little bit apprehensive about what Ibushi was capable of. And I was the booking's very Tony Khan spreadsheet. Where you've got various supporting cast members who are associated with the people who are having the match, and they're going to do a match in it. It's ultimately quite meaningless on its own terms. If they'd announced Okada and Ibushi outright for 300 without this match taking place, I'm really worried. Now, I'm genuinely getting excited about it.
Yeah.
So
got all these narrative possibilities now, isn't it?
Yeah. And you've got the idea established that Ibushi is no longer totally finished. And in fact, might be able to do something special again. I don't know, but he's closer to Adna. He was just good. He was just simply good. Hesitant to say back, but he was real good.
Is there any other wrestling rivers that you don't like? Trent Severn, the River Trent. Any others? Wrestlers who also have the same name as a river that you don't like?
I mean, I know I'm a doctor, but that's a hospital past the age, isn't it?
I'll leave that one with you. Just have a think.
Okay.
Well, let's name
Thames.
some rivers.
Thames, the Wear, the Tyne, the Tees.
The Mississippi.
Danube, is that a river?
Yeah. Well, I suppose you could say in 2025 I've been in denial of AEW's comeback.
And about the Fed's decline.
Is that anything? No, apparently I've been too honest about that.
Speaking of Wilbourn there.
I don't know. I'm not really good with rivers.
Amazon. Just have something to
You like the Amazon Red? The amazing Red? Is that anything?
Do you know what I thought when he said that? I was thinking, is that like a service now where you get even faster?
Yeah.
Just like...
Give some rivers and we'll see if we can do some wrestler puns. It's a nice little tangent.
Kota Ibushi.
Yeah.
Just to go back to that one, because I did really enjoy that.
Yeah. Remind me of that on the preview next week, please. Congo, Rhine. Anything?
Rhine. Probably not.
Is it Cross River in Cameroon?
Carrying Cross River.
Yeah. I think that's the exception. Although, in ring.
If you take a kayak down there, it wouldn't be a bumpy ride. It's my favorite thing on Twitter at the minute. These MP4s of like carrying crosses not doing bumps. Is
he going to bump his ass off in response, or is he going to not bump to make that point? Like,
we can't.
Blue Thunder bomb.
Is that the guy, in that South Park episode where the guy who runs the planetarium can't pronounce the word planetarium, and he says planetarium instead? It's like, that's a really unfortunate thing and very specific to you for the career choice you've made. Yeah. Literally, that's carrying cross. Oh, what's the first thing you do at wrestling school? Oh, you need to take a flat back bump. Oh, right. It's like literally going to elementary school. Can you hold this pencil? No. Oh, you're then, aren't you?
I've found a river for you, Wilbourn.
Go on.
Yeah, it's in Ethiopia. It's called the Gash River. So
nice.
That exists.
Always wet.
You tease him up, he hits the homer.
Thank you, really. I came to a realization this morning. The way you feel about Seth Rollins popping up on your screen is the way I feel about anyone in the Death Riders popping up on my screen. Because then we go to Jon Moxley and Estelle, and I was like, oh, it's going so well, this show.
This is a really good promo.
He's just, gotta get off my screen, get away. The only thing we have is the present moment, and it slips through our fingers like sand. Page has lost 1,000 times before, but it's all back in his hands again. Moxley said Page is afraid to become what the world needs him to be. He's not so special. Page makes him absolutely sick. He's got no sympathy for the crybaby emo crap. The world champion doesn't take a single ounce of crap from anyone. Page shies away from the gifts he's been given. He's not what the fans think he is. While Page is debating personal turmoil, Moxley doesn't care about what he's playing around with. All in, he'll lay him out with forearms and choke him out. And after All In, Page will be left looking for another job.
I thought this was a really strong, well-delivered promo. And I thought the content was quite good as well, in that why would Jon Moxley care about? I mean, it's one of those ironic things that will come back to haunt him. And maybe that's like a deliberate choice, because if you recall in 2020, Jon Moxley was all about heavy on the foreshadowing, and was clever enough to allow you in the body of the matches to make you forget the finish he told you was going to happen, and then it happened. Him making the deliberate choice was a pretty good heel move, because people who follow AEW do care about the power of friendship, and they want to see Hangman and Swerve come together. Jon Moxley's like, who your friends are, or your feelings, or anything like that. I'm going to chin you. I am Jon Moxley. But then it's going to be you should have cared, because Swerve's going to come and help Hangman Page. So that's a nice bit of foreshadowing, a nice bit of, as all of this is going on in the background, and these sort of allied forces coming together to thwart the Death Riders, like Jon Moxley's Jon Moxley. They've really built him quite strongly against Briscoe in the singles match. Arena Mexico, he's inevitable at this point. And I think he's got the bit between his teeth again as a promo as well.
That's really good analysis about that friendship thing, because I was totally bored, and I wasn't picking anything from it. But that's a good spot, because that's what I want to be. That's what I'd rather be doing, is like seeing the wood for the trees with this whole Death Riders thing, and now trying to fantasy book the positive outcomes. Now we're finally going to be done with it. Like, the thing about Jon Moxley is, I don't think it's just as simple as, the Death Rider stuff stunk, but everything before that was great. Or like the situation you find yourself in, where it's like, I'm kind of coming around to this now because the greater good has been serviced by a potential Hangman Page title win, or whatever the positives that you're starting to hear here and there about the Death Riders. It goes back much further. Like, I was kind of the first guy to say, actually, Jon Moxley might be shit, lads. But it was you could not say that back then. But I seem to recall probably 2022, the charm was starting to wear thin on the New Japan Dads stuff. And it was like,
2022 was the best TV match wrestler in the country. He was amazing in 2022. Was good. He had the Wheeler Daniel Garcia. Later that year, in the back half of the year, it was
the matches would.
Then he had the Hangman feud. It was pretty much after the Hangman feud where
that's
I think it was going off.
Yeah, it was that. You're right. It was hanging sort of on a bit of a precipice, wasn't it? And then the Hangman Page match was so amazing. You're like, ooh, phew. And then it still didn't really get any better. And so I was just like, well, he's got this. I remember really resenting that he defeated Orange Cassidy. It's like, because
That international title reign was a fiasco.
John's got to have a belt, and there was a real sense of that. And it's like, I guess I'm just not able to like emotionally reattach myself to Jon Moxley. When the discussion of this was the man that was all of this to all of us before this run, I think it's taken me a bit longer to. I don't know. My hopes are not high for Jon Moxley next. Even if he is foreshadowing and trying to tell the stories, and he will be thinking on a deeper level, a grander level about whatever his character is going to do next beyond the Death Riders, but I'm not there with him yet.
I can completely understand that. Sometimes some things that come out of both your mouths and I'm completely, what? This I absolutely get. I'm personally a little bit more with him now, but I get why people are still bored stiff.
They've got me for this match.
Yeah.
Like, Hangman.
The high drama will be quite incredible.
Hangman Page has to win. If he doesn't, Jesus Christ, what now? It's WrestleMania 39 sort of thing. Like, what? You know, so like,
what?
They've got me. They've got me. You're going to do it.
What?
Renee gets backstage with AR Fox, saying how much momentum he's got through losing to Jon Moxley on Collision last week. That didn't really make much sense. But regardless, Ricochet shows up and says, you're everything I've been looking for. I don't want the crew. I'm definitely not getting the crew. They're not going to be part of my crew. It's not going to be the crew, all right? But I need someone to help me get gold in AEW. How about we team up tonight? And he shakes Fox's hand before he can even answer him. Sounds good. See you out there.
I mean, what's this? No takesies, backsies. What, like, seriously, what was this? This is not the first time that they have made poor, super creative, really valuable TV wrestler AR Fox look like a complete dickhead. Like, wasn't there a time when, was it Matt Sydal or was it AR Fox? I'm sure there was a time when, like, I wish I'd researched this before coming in because I was reminded of this time that may or may not have happened. When I watched poor AR Fox get his hand shaken and suddenly that's the decision. Right. I'm sure there's a time when, like, Wardlow was, like, actively really pissed off backstage. And AR Fox.
It was AR Fox.
It was AR Fox as a babyface. And he said something along the lines of, what's your problem, Wardlow?
Yes.
Or something like that. And Wardlow was like, visibly, I'm very upset and I'm going to punch you. So they just made poor AR Fox look like a dickhead. This was bad booking tonight about AR Fox on two levels. One, it's official and you have to have the match. We're shaking hands. What? So, that makes it, that's official.
Yeah.
It's not as if, right, it's like that babyface virtue of, like, your word. If you say you promise to win this main event on behalf of your stricken family, you goddamn win that main event. That's the rule. Oh, your word is your bond. So you got his hand shaken. What are we doing here with this? This is terrible.
Yeah. I found the bit. It's from what would have been the 22nd of November, 2023 Dynamite. And I was trying to remember, why do I remember a girder in this? And that's because Wardlow's doing, like, warming up with a girder. And Renee's like, oh, can I have a quick word? I want to know your thoughts on the World's End main event. Paquette asks what he's waiting for with MJF. And Wardlow says the downfall of the devil will happen on his time. AR Fox walks up and says, Wardlow, you're putting the blame on everyone else. You did the same thing with Darby Allin. Wardlow says he doesn't need advice from anyone and headbutt him.
Yeah. It's Ricochet's, he brings this charm that I enjoy very much.
I don't want to see him elevating bad material when he was actively doing good material.
That's the difference, isn't it? Yeah, this was bad material, well elevated.
And, like, AR Fox looks such a twat in this match as well.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, poor guy. He's just had a really good, ultra rare sprint with Jon Moxley on Collision.
You know what it is,
reward.
Gets around at this time of year. Tony Khan sees that all-in banner hanging and he's like, you really pissed me off in 2023. Punish AR Fox.
Yes, so it was following that. That was because that was.
I love the idea of, you know, like, Homer's, like, sometimes clever on The Simpsons and it's really funny.
Yeah.
Like, Tony Khan's, like, kind of like the nicest guy and he's a bit feckless and he's Tony. So the idea that he just, like, is a really aggressive, nasty piece of to AR Fox. Like, everyone else is like, yeah, that's great. That's the worst storyline I've ever heard. And the critics will hate it. It'll set us back 3 months, but I'm nice. You can do it. AR Fox, get the out of my face, Fox. How many goddamn times do I have to tell you, Fox?
He's Toby from The Office.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a door slammed in his face.
No. Hey, Tony, I know things haven't been great between us of late, ever since, like July 2023. But I had this great idea for a match. I think it could make us a lot of money. I got an idea, Fox. Why don't you get the out? Huh?
Tony Goldberg.
Oh, yes. Oh, I've got an idea. It's a great. How's it great, is it? I got a great idea for you. Why don't you off? No, we've got evidence of this actually happening.
That's
on
it.
Dynamite last
Based
night.
it on a segment.
Yeah, so it is happening.
Not empty speculation.
So that was from earlier on in the day. And then immediately following this, we got Ricochet and AR Fox versus Jet Speed, Speedball Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight. The bell sounded. Ricochet was like, I'll start us off. And then got his head kicked in, basically, between Bailey and Knight, punching, kicking him and stuff. So Ricochet immediately tags in Fox, who does well.
Who's amazing.
Yeah, he sends Bailey to the outside, sweeps the leg of Knight.
You've always been a fan of him, haven't you?
Well, I to be honest, I was kind of unaware of his work before he arrived in AEW. But yeah, we all think he's class, don't we? And you were literally putting over on the Collision review that spot that they did early on.
Bill
here.
Murray's character in Groundhog Day has had like a more change of routine than you.
Wilbourn's like the reverse Tony Khan back in that locker room. Hate him, hate him, hate him. Give us our Fox's chance.
But you were literally putting over this move on the Collision review. He does that over-the-top double stomp on the apron.
I mean,
it
it's
looks
incredible.
Amazing.
How do you control your body so you're not like genuinely like really sort of knocking the wind out of your opponent with that? It's so well timed. It's so creative. Such a great transition to get to another area of like the
And
God.
didn't he jump off him onto Bailey with like a senton?
Yeah, I mean,
Amazing.
like what a terrible platform on which to do a spectacular move, like someone's abdomen. He's so good.
Yeah. Ricochet's there. Come on, guys. Jamboree up, Fox. Tony Khan. Turn the audience mics down. Turn them down.
It's like
Pipe in booze. Pipe in some booze. Boo.
plausible deniability as well because of the production snafus that they often have. Oh, sorry, AR Fox.
Taz, call him Idiot City Jones.
Right. Jet Speed dives heading into commercial to take back over. When we come back, Ricochet and Fox are arguing about who's going to give a suplex tonight. And that allows Knight to backdrop Ricochet to the floor and make the hot tag to Mike Bailey, who hits those machine gun kicks on AR Fox. Bailey hit a running shooting star press for 2. There's a double drop kick in there by Jet Speed. And that rolling pop-up lariat on Fox for a near fall. Bailey comes in, but Ricochet smashes him into the steps. Fox hits a tope and the low main pain. Bailey gets Knight tagged in. And Fox is like, I'm in a bit of trouble here. I better go and tag out. And Ricochet's like, nah, just leaves him. High and dry, just walks off. Bollocks to you. Knight hits a standing drop kick, sky high on Fox, and then this splash to get the 1, 2, 3.
This was pretty abysmal booking, to be fair, all told. You've made poor AR Fox look like an asshole. Like an asshole who just, I've shaken his hand. Oh, my hand has been shaken. That's how that works.
Yeah.
I have to go out for a match. Right, so you've done that. Bad booking number 1. Bad booking number 2, you make him look even more of a lamentable geek where even Ricochet doesn't want anything to do with him, and everyone hates Ricochet. It's like even Ricochet's like, I don't want anything to do with this guy. What a loser. And then he just walks off. Right, so that's bad booking number 2. Bad booking number 3, which, Jet Speed, you're being built as your World Tag Team title contenders for All in Texas, have lost a trios match to the Hurt Syndicate already. Like, they couldn't even do the most Route 1, beat the champions, get a title match. They couldn't even give them that. Right. They now have essentially won a 2-on-1 handicap match to ascend up the rankings.
Think of it like that.
They were the worst kind of like spunky baby faces, like to be put in this situation. Yeah, let's kick his ass.
It's easy now, man.
Worst kind of good guys to be given this
Because it's already so like I really like Jet Speed. I think they're great in the ring. This is very good, not great. The crowd not waking up until the signatures in a really that WWE hum way. I don't.
And it was like more of a silence than a hum, wasn't it? As well?
Yeah. That was evident throughout the night of like, all right, let's wake up when the signatures happen. That I hate that WWE TV match hum, and there was a lot of it on Dynamite last night. So it played out against the hum. No one likes the hum. Everyone says that. But because it didn't do anyone any favors whatsoever, this because
Even easier.
because Mike Bailey, who I've really fallen for now that he's not trying to do 25 minutes on the indies every time I've ever caught him over the past 2 or 3 years, right? Now that he's a more sort of disciplined TV wrestler, I get the charm all over again with him, right? But this is a guy who skirts the line of being such an endearing, wholesome, 80s loving dork as a character. If he goes a degree above that, he is like a obnoxious heel. He just is. And it would be the easiest heel turn to book in about a year's time. He would just basically be himself with a little bit more self-awareness.
When we get Speedball.
And be Johnny Lawrence.
Like him and Ricochet are going to be great together one day.
Yeah. Like, he could Johnny Lawrence it up, like, so easily and be like, put him in a body bag, yeah, and be like a Cobra Kai dojo guy. Like that. Because he's so close anyway, when he's in a 2-on-1 handicap situation. Yeah! You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you're a tosser.
You're like Shivani, here they come, these assholes. Like, he's not exactly like grinning, but they're like leaning on his shoulders. Oh, don't get too cocky, boys.
This World Tag Team title match build has been not so good, Al.
I mean, they got the kicked out of them. There's a further to that as well.
Honestly, I thought, how long are they going to be on that table after Friday's SmackDown? How long are they going to be on that table?
Well, let's get to that.
Like this is for AR Fox. Just batter them.
Well, yeah. Meanwhile, whilst Tony Khan was like, get him the out of that ring.
Like Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 12.
Jets me to get interviewed on the ramp.
He goes backstage. I took a real kick at that. Was that good enough for you, Tony? No. Back you go again. Are we going to get the singles match at all in? That's what we're wondering.
Tony versus AR Fox.
Oh, 2 years in the making.
Fox versus a Jaguar, and you know what happens.
You're in trouble when you mess with a Jaguar. So
it's loose in the ring.
Now the contract said you were going to face a Jaguar. It's a literal Jaguar. Anyway, gets me to get interviewed, and Bailey says the tag team title's been held hostage. It's time someone comes to their rescue. And Knight, agrees he wants to win the belts, starts trying to mock MVP's old theme song, and then they're jumped by the Hurt Syndicate, who just beat the crap out of them, like you say. MJF and MVP applaud, set up a table. Benjamin chokes out Knight, sets him up, and Lashley, I think, spine busted Bailey through his partner through the table.
This should win the belts. Do you know what I mean?
And MVP says, right, now I've taken care of that piece of business, hit the music.
And
then I was watching him in the background. I was like, you can't stay there, not after what everyone was saying on Friday.
They did.
MVP treats every wrestler on this roster like Tony Khan does AR Fox. The disdain in which he holds every wrestler.
It needs to be stopped.
Remarkable.
It's like this is getting so excruciatingly awkward.
Who is it he murked? Was it Big Bill he murked?
He's murked Big Bill. Yeah. He murks everyone.
Yeah.
He did a good job.
MVP's World Cup wind-up. If you know, you know.
He did do a good job here when the crowd were being a bit hummy, as you said, to just be like, give some respect to MJF, and they were like, oh, another round of boos.
Yeah, the timing wasn't great.
So yeah, MVP does.
But MJF can do that himself. He's MJF.
Yeah,
arguably more over as a heel than MVP ever was. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
MVP does the whole so-and-so, and here's MJF, boo, that sort of thing. And he says if Jet Speed can stand up after that, then they can have a title shot. on the condition that they can walk. And he hands it over to MJF, who talks about unmasking and defeating Mystico. And then again, yes, is where MVP riles up the crowd, saying, "You haven't seen a star like him since the days of the Sonics."
It's like me on a podcast, MVP. I forgot something. I should get it. It's fine on a podcast, I think, but not on national television.
MJF says he's going to enter a qualifying match next week for the Casino Gauntlet. Another step back to what was rightfully his, not Dictator John's or the crooked cowboy Hangman. It's his AEW World Championship. And MJF says, "Hear our music," but this time Mark Briscoe's music hits and he walks out.
What did I ever do in this life to deserve an empty-headed, dumb f***ing like AR Fox? Huh?
For Mindy's Bakery is closed on Tuesdays. That's probably what the AR Fox would go get me a gift, dumbass.
I'm sorry if I'm a little snippy. I'm hurt, I'm tired, and I work with AR Fox.
Just to reiterate, we love AR Fox.
He's class. Yeah. It's just funny, innit?
You gotta laugh. Oh, God.
Makes me work with AR Fox constantly.
AR Fox probably shares a bank account with his mother.
Nick Wayne, you're friends with AR Fox, aren't you? No, you remember when he bloodied me up with Swerve? Oh, he kind of blew up my spot there, Nick. I'm changing my mind on this show. Briscoe, I need your help with this, actually. I got a bit confused by this. Briscoe says everyone knows MJF can listen to himself talk all night long, but production's got a time limit. Please get out of the ring so I can do my business.
Again, a nice concession to me, that.
Yeah.
Do it all the time.
Well, the Young Bucks have messed it all up.
Please me constantly.
Like the Young Bucks have messed
And
it
he'll
up
have a good
is,
show.
You know?
I promise.
Yeah.
They've led with this now, with like everything's gone up in the air because of the match change. So it stands to reason that there's chaos backstage.
Yes.
The Young Bucks have caused.
Please me constantly, baby. Is that anything?
Blake Christians.
MJF says he doesn't give a damn what time it is. You can take for as much time as you want because, unlike you, Mark Briscoe, we're actually stars. And the fans relate to you, Mark, because they've got as many bills in their pocket as you have teeth in your mouth. Why don't you go and do what you always do, and that's lose, and then you can go back to your ranch picking up chicken, you blue-collared bitch. That's a good line.
Unbelievable.
Briscoe talks about MJF's inner turmoil and pain. I always love when he gets like, and he says the word of the day is empathy. So allow Briscoe to empathize. Feels like MJF's trying to make up for something. If Briscoe was MJF, going 30 years with a tiny kosher pickle in his pants, he'd want to hang out with the Hurt Syndicate too. What's the problem with carrying around like loose vegetables? I don't understand the issue here.
Oh no, he wasn't talking about know like pickled vegetables.
Yeah.
Like more a salad item really, because it's a cucumber, isn't it? Was that a gherkin? Who knows? Ultimately, he's talking about how he's got a small cock. Small cock.
That makes the tweet from Alicia make a lot more sense now.
What did Alicia tweet?
Let me find it.
As I recall, it was not exactly a glowing endorsement. So I did see this.
How do I find this? Alicia, what's a Alicia? No, can't find it. Whoa. Let's get one thing straight. It's absolutely a kosher pickle, but it's definitely not tiny.
Not really saying it's big there either, Alicia. Just saying. So we'll solve this case at some point.
Yes.
We will.
Where are we? The line about that makes so much more sense now. Why Lashley and Benjamin pop for this? There's kosher pickle chants from Seattle. And MVP says, "We'll get out of the ring and let you do what you do better than anyone else. Lose."
If I was 2021 Sidgwick, reaching, bro, putting all these story strands together, really obsessing over the details, I might think that all of this MVP... Wilbourn, what do you think of all this? Like the storyline?
Oh, good.
Shut up, because I'm talking. I'm MVP. I would almost think it's leading to, and they still might make something out of this, who the hell knows, MJF going, shut up, Montel, I'm talking. But he does it to everyone. And he's done it all the time. What is his deal? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's something that's becoming difficult to shake with the Hurt Syndicate, the way the matches are arranged, MVP's absolute refusal to let anyone get into a rhythm or get something on them. I don't know. It feels like there are power plays getting done every single week.
Is it a little bit Sins of the Dark Father? And I use Malachi Black as an example, but also Yamiro's and everybody else that has got that WWE thing where they come in and they think, no, I run the show and I come to this little I don't know. 2-bit promotion.
I will
Is there
say,
a little bit of that hanging over the Hurt Syndicate because of their priors?
Maybe. It's a hard one. The way I look at it is that that's potentially an element. It's often said that if you experience even a modicum of success in WWE, and Lashley went at the top, you get that WWE privilege where everything else is lesser than. And yes, certainly pretty acrimonious departure, certainly between MVP and Triple H from what I understand, but that was also true on different terms with Punk and Triple H. And it was reported and said that, no, even Punk has got this.
Yeah.
Even Punk, who knows deep down or has known, not the nicest place, and some of the stuff they do is rubbish, but you'll go. They've just got that, this is the big time mentality, and I've experienced success there. You have to impress me. I've been in WWE. It's just this thing that goes through pro wrestling. So maybe it is an element of that. If I'm going to be more generous, I will talk about MJF and Briscoe because this is awesome. I love this direction so much. But just on MVP and the Hurt Syndicate more broadly, quickly, maybe there's this sense of we know that MVP, because he's spoken about this openly after it all sort of fizzled out, was intent in his belief, adamant. The Hurt Business should have been the biggest thing in wrestling at the time. Yeah. Completely squandered this amazing potential and all the rest of it. I don't know if in his head he's making up for lost time and just trying to grab every second available to him, even when it's not and it's somebody else's time to talk or to get over themselves. That the selfishness is informed by the fact that it was completely botched in his vision and all the rest of it. But at the same time, he's kind of overcorrecting, doing himself no favors. I know Twitter's a bubble, X is a bubble, but you do see the odd post on for you of, can we have a conversation about the Hurt Syndicate? This is becoming not the surrounding prevailing narrative around the Hurt Syndicate, but a lot of people are noticing that this could be a lot more productive and a lot less awkward.
There was a real magic around this act in the first few weeks, wasn't there?
That is the shame. That is the shame of it. I still like to think that it could reach those heights again, but the last few weeks have been in a lot of the matches, it's not as amazing as it was when MJF first started to get associated with the act. This MJF Briscoe is perfect dynamic. I've talked about how I'm not necessarily into this power friendship stuff anymore. I think it might have peaked in 2020 and 2021 with this opposition to the Death Riders and the Hangman arc, and it's more like this anime style of pro wrestling storytelling. I'm a little bit over it. I'm also over these threatening dark forces at the top of the promotions like Seth's group, Bloodline, Death Riders. I'm over that. Kind of ready to just go back to personal issues drawing money and character contrasts and hatred and feeling things and, having a good guy and a bad guy duke it out in a massive match. Mark Briscoe versus MJF is a potentially awesome proposition. And if you follow MJF's career history, this is how it starts. Nice bit of verbal interplay. Let's get in each other's psyches a little bit. Let's just see who's got the funniest lines. And often after that, it will mutate into something more often than not glorious. So, like the chicken line was just great. Like the venom in the voice felt like he knows. Feels like MJF knows what the potential of this is.
The excitement I got around MJF presumably qualifying for the gauntlet as well. I love that.
He could do that fabled. Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say just him going into
I am MVP.
him going into the gauntlet solves the problem of, well, what's MJF got going on at All In? It seems like it's going to do for a lot of people. So great. But what is the gauntlet if not an excuse to have like big surprise entrance music pops? And that's where Mystico comes to get his revenge. And the Mystico music from Arena Mexico plays, the crowd go wild. It's Texas as an adjacent there.
Yeah.
And he comes and he just like chases MJF off. And that's how you get MJF out of the match and doesn't win. Mystico's raging. You get the nice moment and then he just batters him. And you just a lot of like a nice payoff, even if they're going to do another match, but it's more for, say, like an Arena Mexico return rather than All In. There's a way to address that within the confines of that match.
Again, we've got nothing left to preview. We'll still record one. Remember the fabled fantasy booking? Probably on Reddit, where it's like, it's a cute idea, but realistically, would they ever do it? Of Royal Rumble happens, and before number 30 comes out, the last two have actually thrown themselves out and done the Luger Brett finish, and the person, a heel, would just walk in and go, yep, I've done it. A similar principle of, and I know Christian did it last year, and he can't do it every year, but with the thread being Briscoe, the Nelly man of AEW, who everyone wants to see get a push, but he doesn't win that often, and will it ever happen for him? Like, finally, maybe going in at 1, beating everyone, and then a roll-up 1, 2, 3, MJF's just done it for the night, you know? Or headlock takeover, pinfall, that's it.
Or the cock smash in the face that he does.
Yep.
Yep, one of them.
The 6 county cock.
Yep.
Then we got the match.
Call that. You should name that move. If in fact Alicia, what's the surname? If in fact his partner,
it's a game of chicken.
wasn't downplaying everything, which it seemed to me. So we'll do some investigations. He could call that move the Long Island.
That's good. That's good. Schlong Island.
The Schlong Island.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
Schlong Island, nice pee-pee.
Oh, you
Not got too far.
Yeah. As ever.
4-way Casino Gauntlet qualifier next. It was Bandito, Konosuke Takeshita, Mark Briscoe, as we mentioned, and Roderick Strong to see who got into the Casino Gauntlet here. Takeshita early on avoids a dive and sends Bandito into the barricade. Strong catches Briscoe coming off the top with a nice right hand to the midsection. Briscoe, I think it was, hit a Bandito with a blockbuster off the apron. But as he's high-fiving the fans, Strong hits a baseball slide to take control as we go to a break. When we come back, Briscoe misses a froggy bow on Strong. Strong hits an angle slam, big forearms. Takeshita flies in with a haluva kick. Also hits a superplex. But with both men down, Briscoe and Bandito hit froggy bow and frog splashes, respectively, for near falls. Bandito tries a 21-plex, but Takeshita comes in. I think it was on Briscoe, if I'm not mistaken here. But Takeshita comes in to hit a double German suplex.
Oh my
It looked great, that.
Briscoe went flying.
Yeah.
Strong.
I thought the little pregnant pause before to make you realize, he's going to do that was great as well.
Strong gets out of a Blue Thunder Bomb, hit a gutbuster, but as he ran for the sick kick, Takeshita does manage to hit him with a Blue Thunder Bomb for 2. Bandito blindsides Takeshita, hits the X knee, and does manage this time to hit the 21-plex, but Takeshita rolls outside. Strong cuts off a Bandito dive with the end of Heartache, but before he can do anything about that, Briscoe hits the froggy bow. 1, 2, 3, Mark Briscoe wins.
Yeah, if you forget the rather crucial flaw that, if anything, by winning this match, you're in for a longer, harder night at All in Texas, because it's never going to just end in the fatal 4-way phase. You know what I mean? Ever.
Singles match at the very beginning is the only point this gives you an advantage.
Yeah.
After that.
And it's an AEW match, brackets general. Like, the amount of AEW matches, I'd love to know the percentile that have gone under 5 minutes. Like Dynamite Collision, not like Dark or Elevation, you know? Like in pay-per-view, if you consider pay-per-view, Dynamite and Collision, how many have gone under the percentage of like sub 5 minute matches, not including Jade Cargill. You know what I mean? Like, it must be real low, real goddamn low.
Was it Evil Uno who was like waiting to go out on one of them? That was good stuff.
Yeah. Like, they can play with that again. So if you ignore that and you can get past, which I really couldn't, I'm like, oh, please wake up a little bit. That WWE TV match hum. This turned into something really cool with some really cool spots. I've got nothing more insightful to say about it other than that. Like, it wasn't so electrifying that I'm like giddy on the couch waking up, you know. It turned into something fairly exciting in the end. And it's one of those where you have to at some point keep saying it was really well worked, like really well arranged. Like, some thoughts gone into it, the physical timing, the physical commitment, all really strong. But at this point, when you're analysing AEW in 2025, it goes without saying.
Yeah, I had very little on it. When I said the NXT main event from Tuesday reminds me of that Dynamite feeling where I've just seen a lot of perfectly well executed moves, and I think I know who the winner is, and I've not got a lot of.
This was better.
This was the better version of that, ultimately. Yeah, I was glad Mark Briscoe won.
Yeah,
they've established
that's an investment, you know.
They've forecast heartbreak for him in Texas with how this is likely to go, but they are telling you strap in with Mark Briscoe. He is about to go on a proper character arc here, and it's well overdue.
Mm-hmm. Adam Cole's backstage talking about how the Don Callis family have been a thorn in his side for too long. And
too long. I have to watch Collision.
He issues an open challenge for his TNT title tomorrow on Collision to any Don Callis family member. I got really worried about this, and then I saw it was going to be Josh Alexander. I thought he'd be absolutely fine. Don't worry about that. Love Josh Alexander, but he never wins any singles matches on AEW, does he? But hey, if you like that sort of thing, check out Collision or whatever. Right, moving on.
He goes there, he said it, and that's undisputed. And I was like, gone off Paragon, have you?
Yep. And I said the exact same thought. And that is Paragon doesn't work. Does not work quite as well.
And my aura has Paragon.
Going Paragon.
Look, I'm allowed to say that because I want the Fed to resign.
I want the Fed. I want Adam Cole in the Fed.
We all do. All of us and Triple H can agree on one thing.
It's the Yeet, Zero Miedo era of the Fed.
Yeah.
Adam Cole needs to go there.
Yep.
He can't compete on the big match stage with Takeshita Omega, Ospreay, MJF, Hangman. He can't. He needs to go where his best qualities are going to be marketed effectively.
I love him. I want to love him on screen.
It is the quintessential move that suits all parties.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. It's time for the one women's match on this show.
Oh, Jesus.
I just remembered. The four-way, it was Athena with Billy Starks, Thunder Rosa, Willow Nightingale, and Chris Statlander. This for the number one spot in the women's Casino Gauntlet, of course. Early on, everyone hits Tilt-A-Whirl head scissors on another.
What was with Thunder Rosa's entrance?
Don't know. They're running around. Wow! Like so she was doing.
Is it like the equivalent of MVP trying to get heel heat? She was trying to get a babyface pop. Yeah.
So can we get, I don't know. Sorry, it's a joke. Can we just get that one more time? The Thunder Rosa entrance.
She kind of she came out really sort of excited. She had the cowboy hat, the Texas variant of the Thunder Rosa aesthetic, which I really like. And then she just sort of charges to the ring and runs around the barriers, wow, like that. It's just but it's really sort of disconnected from the vibe that she typically curates.
How does it go, sorry?
Wow!
I mean, I get it. You want to work all in Texas and get over ahead of it. Let's not go nuts.
No.
Let's not go nuts here.
It was now the smaller crowds are not an issue in general because the venues they pick, but just in general, it's just become less of a conversation. It's like when you go to those
normalized.
When you go to those indie shows and there's 20, 30 people there, and the first thing the wrestler does when they burst out the curtain because they have no other choice, and God bless all of them because I wouldn't be able to come on, straight away. And it's like that, burst through the curtains, come on, try and get the noise straight away. You shouldn't beg for it. That goes against the rules of what you learn in the schools, not apparently, but fair play. You've gone out there in your pants, get some noise. She was sort of inadvertently drew attention because she would go wow, and then look over to the other side where there was nobody, and then she would immediately turn around like Kobe used to do, I need this, and I'm going back over there where I need more of this. It was she can't
It's it was a little bit awkward to say the least.
It's nice to have Thunder Rosa actually on the podcast. Thunder, thanks for joining us. What would you say, Thunder Rosa, to like slow down a horse that you were riding?
Wow! Love Thunder Rosa. Couldn't have been nice to us.
She runs hot and cold, but she's really, really great when she's
Gotta say that for
great.
balance.
She wasn't really great
No, this match was
last night,
No,
though.
we weren't all on the same page in this one, were they?
No.
No.
This was disappointing, wasn't it?
Yes, it
'Cause
was.
the name value and the
Yeah. You're knowing what all four of these are capable of on
Yeah.
their best days, and it never came together. I had something else to say about all of this. Hopefully it'll come to me when I ignore your recap.
Okay. What is this? The NXT podcast?
Sidgwick switch off bit.
I've seen it.
I just make up some spots, see if he notices. And then Athena pulled out a chainsaw.
Oh, that's the point I was going to make. That's all we'll listen to your recap.
The chainsaw was a step too far. IMO.
You know, one of my least favourite, and I love more often than not, the Twitter experience. Dank.
Yeah.
And then we got your nice little
Yeah.
corner of positivity and community. And you can laugh at some dank stuff. And Twitter. Yeah. You know what? It's my sort of least favourite. I saw underneath Ibu said whack crowd, and it was. My least favourite thing is when you've got a demonstrably not great crowd. Do you know why it's not great? Because there's this thing called a scale. And think about, I don't know, Road Warrior Pop, Austin Pop, December 98, all the way down to Performance Center 2020. Right? That's the scale.
Yeah.
Right? Because I've heard what a loud crowd sounds like several times. When you say I was a pretty dismal crowd, they came off for some things. I will say they went kind of nuts for Ospreay and Swerve, it became even more impressive after the fact. When people say, nah, they were great. And I feel sorry for them. I was there, we were loud. It's like, I heard it on telly and it wasn't.
I hate mind that.
And I don't know why it drives us nuts. I don't want you to have a bad time.
No.
But at the same time, maybe the TV cameras won't work or something like that.
How can it be quiet? Because I was surrounded by 400 people that were cheering and booing, so I heard noise.
You know what I mean?
You have to understand what you're saying there. Like,
You know what I mean? You could sense Thunder Rosa was doing it. How did that go again?
Wow!
There was a point when I think he was going up. He's dead!
I think I just lodged a bit of cream cracker from tomorrow's SmackDown.
Yes,
There was a point.
He might, maybe he'll be his PB on
I'll have to
tomorrow's.
perform it live and see.
There was a point when Mark Briscoe was going up the turnbuckles and he was doing the arm going up. Come on. Everyone knows it's that.
Can we quickly have Mark Briscoe into Thunder Rosa? So Mark Briscoe's come on!
Wow!
Everyone knows this.
What all the rest has been saying.
I mean, this was.
What's your noise, Wilbourn?
I don't have any.
He's not that kind of guy.
Nah, he doesn't do that stuff, does he?
The OTJ.
That's it.
That's for his name, that's for his noise. Come on, Sidge. You know words.
Okay. But I'm saying, as the OTJ, he doesn't really indulge in any nonsense.
No, that's fair. That's
He
actually
doesn't
fair.
do bits.
No explanation. I retract my previous statement.
Thank you.
I forgot where I even was with all this. Athena hits loads of strikes on everyone in her path, basically. Goes to the O-face. Statlander hits with a big kick. Rosa, they set up the Tower of Doom spot with Rosa there and Willow and what have you. And Willow poses as we go to a break. When we come back, Willow and Chris coming in clean house, and there's a face-to-face with them. They both sort of tease doctor bombs. Athena breaks it all up, tries a double suplex, but she gets dropped by both of them. They turn around into a missile dropkick from Thunder Rosa. A Cazador into a double stomp on Nightingale, gets a near fall for Thunder Rosa. Athena backflips out of a suplex, tries a head scissors, but I don't know what was going on there. Athena pulls Rosa to the outside and tells Starks to get her title. Starks rushed over by the time she's got there. Rosa sent Athena to the steps. Rosa wants a suplex, but Athena counters and suplexes her off to the steps to the floor. Back in the ring, Nightingale hits Statlander with a cannonball in the corner, but then suddenly Marina Shafir appears. Willow Nightingale turns round to see Wheeler Yuta trying to jump her, but she hits him with a pounce. But all this has allowed Chris to recover, and she hits Saturday Night Fever for the 1-2-3 as Shafir smirks and they look on. The Death Riders help Chris Statlander get the win.
Yeah, messy, and I was quite sad watching it because on their best night, all four of these women have delivered iconic performances in AEW. So, case of really dashed expectations.
Yeah, it's not really been. This wasn't particularly encouraging about Athena, was it? Not so much the work. Everyone's allowed a bad night, and Athena's had way more brilliant ones.
I mean,
just the way she's been booked when she enters the AEW realm.
I've said this exact thing on Collision,
is a little bit concerning, isn't it?
I said this exact same thing on Monday. Like, my idea would have been you just do not put her on TV at all, at any point in AEW TV. Like, try and preserve the sort of, I don't know, Walter-esque legend of someone who goes undefeated, invincible forever elsewhere. You can pretend ROH is elsewhere. Then,
well, you only have the NXT UK title.
Yeah,
so that's a like for like in terms of how important that was.
Yeah. Then, as a means to an end, she's still got the Ring of Honor Women's title, but then as soon as maybe on the Dynamite after or at All In itself, lights go out. Whomever wins, Toni Storm or Mercedes, is confronted by, oh my God, you've not only have you just had the biggest AEW women's match in history, but now you get the winningest star ever in the Converse to continue this momentous period of women's wrestling here in AEW. And now they've just kind of made her a mid-carder who loses sometimes. It's not acceptable at all. It really isn't. They could have, they've squandered all this time. The only thing this really had going for it, this forever champion, was you can build a mythos around Athena, if nothing else. And now it's like she's just there sometimes.
We talked a bit about it on Collision with the Moxley phone incident with Statlander. Your thoughts on Chris and the Death Riders, all that's going on there?
I don't mind it. Actually, a little bit of texture. A program around the women that isn't to do with the belt is always a good thing. They had the opportunity to have the Willow pouncing Wheeler Yuta thing, which was nice for this match as well. Yeah, I quite like this. I would like as well Chris Statlander to obviously reject it because it's the best chance she's got at having. I've always thought that there's like a female Hangman Page relationship that people could have with Chris Statlander, and too often the creative cuts them off. They would never be that careless with Hangman Page as they are with
Cowboys and Aliens.
Yep.
It's a film, isn't it?
Yeah. I've never seen it.
Me
neither. Daniel Craig?
I never fancied it. No.
Yeah. This booking might be the thing that gets it back there because too often they kind of just lose interest, don't they? So.
That means we've concluded our analysis for the one women's match on this show, which means we have to get to the name of the game. But before that stage, the aim of the game.
The aim of the game is to identify to the hour, minute, and second the first time you hear the first note for the first entrance scene for the first woman to come out and compete in the only women's match on Dynamite. The idea being usually falls in that 1 hour 25 minute range, or there or thereabouts, more often than not. If we can just nail it to the hour, minute, and second, we will underscore, italicize, and put in bold the pattern. Now, the pattern is cynical. But I think it's quite compelling that often when it's nestled just before the theoretically important men's main event, not last night, but some nights, you think, do they think that we as the audience think, oh God, bloody women, ugh. What the hell are they doing here? Do they think that we think that? And then they think, well, we'll have to put the birds on. Because it's 2025, you see, and the Wokes will kick off if there aren't any women on this show. Okay. But think about it. Let's be sneaky here. If we put them just before the main event slot, the audience will think sunk cost fallacy time. We've already put an hour into this. And if we just put up with those birds, and I want way more women's wrestling, hence why we persist with this bit. But I'm saying what they think we think. Oh, God, we've already been an hour. We've already spent an hour here. There's only, 8 minutes and 2 seconds statistically before the main event. Let's just stick around. That way, everyone gets what they want. And you think, well, I kind of get there. I'm kind of with you there, Sidgy. Kind of, but it's a bit of a mouthful. I'm sorry, I can't help myself. Could you jingleize that for me, bro? Yeah, of course I can. Don't worry, guys. When the women come out to play, the main event ain't too far away. That's the aim of the game. And the name of the game is, well, this is ladies' night, and I'm thinking, what a night!
Thanks, as always, to the Panda Blair himself, Adam Blair, at Adam Wilton 4, and Jose Palomares at the Ho 11, the guys who always take care of the
data.
Thank you for this sort of thing. Sige, do you want to run through our predictions from the Dynamite preview in Descending?
Sure do. Michael Sidgwick, 1 hour, 19 minutes, 11 seconds. Adam Wilbourn,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Michael Hamflett, 130 flat.
Pretty close there, Hamflett. It's a point for Hamflett. Yes, it was 1 hour, 31 minutes, and 13 seconds, according to the Panda Blair himself, which takes Michael Hamflett tied for the lead with me. 5 points for the year. Sidgwick just one behind us, though, so still all to play for. I mean, unless they put 2 women's matches on, Dynamite 300. The 300th episode of Dynamite, where we've probably played this game pretty much.
Yeah.
What chance of AR Fox getting a push?
Not bloody likely.
Renee's backstage with FTR and Big Stoke, and they're basically going to challenge them on Collision.
Yep.
I figured, yeah. Main event time. It is, bloody hell. That's so unprofessional. I've written literally 50% of the people competing.
On the main event of all matches.
On Dynamite, it just says Hangman Page versus.
I know who the opponent is.
Oh, thank goodness. Oh.
It's the Beast, Mortos.
Got a new thing, ain't he?
Yeah.
Going on.
He's investing.
He hits a headbutt early on as well that connects with Hangman Page, but Page fights back with a springboard lariat, hits a fall-away slam to take us into the break. When we come back, Mortos tries for a big discus lariat, but Page hits one of his own. Mortos gets out of the dead eye. Page hit a pop-up powerbomb for a near fall. Page panics a little bit seeing this. Page missed an Orihara moonsault, but landed on his feet.
Thought he'd broken both his freaking ankles.
I was like, it's less than 3 weeks to go, mate. Please don't be doing that sort of thing. But where are we? Mortos jumped back in the ring, hit a tornado. Pop-up Samoan drop, gets a 2 count for the Beast, and a lung blower. But Page gets out of a tombstone. Answers back with a poison rana, a lariat, buckshot lariat, gets the 1, 2, 3. Do you want me to do the post-match here and do the whole thing?
Yeah, you might as well get it was an obligatory angle. I mean, it was.
Post-match, the lights go out when they come back on. There's the Young Bucks, and they hit Page with an EVP trigger, screaming at him that it's all his fault. The Death Riders music hits. Out comes Jon Moxley with Shafir and Yuta. And Shafir hands Moxley a chain that he wraps around Page's throat, chokes him out. The Ops tried to hit the ring to make the save, but the Bucks and Yuta are kind of holding them off until Ospreay sprints down and the Death Riders and the Bucks bail through the crowd. And Moxley tells the camera, all in, he'll show the world, what the real champion looks like.
Yeah, I got some thoughts on this. Not all of them overwhelmingly positive, to be perfectly honest. In the event that we're going to have to build some more tension or whatever between Page and Swerve ahead of the presumed reconciliation at All in Texas, surely, and this is my Fed brain talking, surely Hangman, even though he's playing still kind of an irrational, heated, wronged character, can't say, where the hell were you, Swerve? I saved you at Arena Mexico. Where were you? I was suspended, dumbass. I mean, they could probably get away with it if Swerve uses his catchphrase against him because Hangman says dumbass. But as much as I like the idea of, that's why Swerve wasn't out, it depends how the Hangman Page character reacts to it. But the Hangman Page character is usually very well drawn, so maybe I'm worrying unnecessarily. Other thought. I don't have to list all my thoughts, but this is thought number 2. Did the use of a chain indicate, and I hope they don't go this route, these two have already had a program. They've already done Texas Death. should we do dog collar then for this one? They don't need a stipulation here. They do not need a stipulation. Maybe it's just one of Moxley's weapons, along with bleach. And they're not going to have a bleach match. So hopefully that's another worry that's unfounded. Thought number 3 is...
Whoever, of course, grabs the bleach from the poke and forces the boy to drink it. That's the rules.
Yes, the rules.
Check your bleach. I climb the bowl.
Check your bleach. When you're on the toilet seat and you don't have your phone, read the bleach.
That's why Moxley not having phone and caring about tech is why
Yeah.
something to read in there.
Yeah.
I'm reaching for stuff.
I understand that when a babyface and a heel are about to have a match in a big pay-per-view, more often than not, the heel should try and beat him up. It's just how wrestling works. I find so much of episodic wrestling TV limited and tedious and overexposed that I just can't. I know it's the whole crux of the story. Is there any kind of thing that can keep me glued to it? Like, what if, I don't know, Moxley wrenches in that bulldog or the choke, like in like the spluttering, like the spit and phlegm everywhere, like an iconic visual. It just seems so mandatory to me. I often just think, all right, okay, well, this is the bit where the heel comes in. Do I switch off now? No, but I'll almost certainly look at my phone here just in case I miss anything. No big debuts. Right, I'll make my second cup of coffee in the morning. I never, ever, ever feel, oh, God, the babyface, no. Am I alone in this?
No, it needs to be extra special. It needs to have that little creative spark to
Yeah.
separate it from all the rest.
Because heat doesn't exist, and because the model of professional wrestling is this emulation of earnest heat, it's always just going to fall flat to me unless it's something truly special as a heat angle. So that's not a specific thing to dig out this episode because every company does it all the time and wrestling's boring, but something to note. On the match itself, it kind of got cooking with the Poison Rana spot, which just looked magic, and seeing Hangman, and I know he did at the start of the match, sort of like flirt with his lucha game a bit, was quite interesting. But I'm sorry, as fun as it ended up being, and as cool as the match graphic was, this was a collision match masquerading as a Dynamite main event. Like, you know, it's the guy, right, who gets beat to the name stars, go through that tab of the spreadsheet, that column of the spreadsheet. Mortos, right, he can lose against Hangman, and then the Death Riders interfere, and that took me 90 seconds. That's what the main event felt like to me.
Yeah.
Love the Poison Rana, and I know it's just a move, but it just looked incredible.
It's sort of, for me, I found it odd that this was, like, we couldn't have talked about this in the preview yesterday. Like, you could have put this on you could have put this on the card. Like, Mortos attached himself to the Death Riders last week, so now Hangman's got a reason to want to fight him. That would have been enough.
Yeah.
The fact that this was the late announcement thing undervalued what could have been this thing that had heat rather than the way that you've described it, which is, well, the babyface is the top guy, so he needs to beat a heel. It felt way more spreadsheety than it needed to. Especially in the main event slot. Because
you knew there was going to be a heat angle afterwards because there's no way. It's like, bloody hell.
It was just a backdrop to the thing.
It might have fit as an opener. It might have worked as an opener.
It would have worked as an opener.
But it didn't really fit in this spot. No. And as a result, you were closing out with the heat. So.
This is the most uninspired collision-ass way to build the Moxley Page match so far.
But let us know your thoughts on Dynamite and everything we've discussed in the comment section below or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch there. You can follow all 4 of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
Follow Michael Sidgwick at
M. Sidgwick.
Follow our brilliant producer Adam Nicholas at
It's Adam Nicholas.
And you can follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. As I said, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. For now, those have been the Dynamite review. My thanks to Hamflett. Sidgwick, thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.